Hey, this is Coach Frank. Today I'm going to be giving you a complete guide to your first back handspring. We're going to go through the three aspects of getting any skill in tumbling. Number one is the technical knowledge. Number two is the physical preparation. And number three is the emotional training, which not a lot of people talk about, but we're going to do it in this video. Tumbling is 90% mental, 10% physical. The purpose of this video is to train that 90% so that by the time you throw your first back handspring, you're completely and totally prepared. I know I don't have to repeat this to you guys again, but don't try this at home. Do it in a gym with safety certified instructors from USA Gymnastics or from USSF. I believe it's a cheerleading organization. Don't do this in your backyard. Don't do it on the trampoline at home. Don't do it at the beach. Don't do it on concrete. Don't do it on broken glass. Just don't do it anywhere other than a gym with safety certified instructors. So let's get started with the first step, technique. Okay, as aggressively as possible, we're going to jump and lift our hips up, ride out a nice tight arch handstand, and then snap down to the opposite shape, which is called the hollow. So what you want to do is you can start with your arms up, you can start with your arms forward, start with your arms down, I don't care where you start with your arms. But make sure that you're pushing your hips back in the start. You want to be off balance and you want to be falling before you jump in the handspring. The fall is what's going to make you go backwards. The jump is just going to take you up. The jump really is going to take your hips up. So what you're going to do is you're going to rock your hips back, stick your butt out, jump to that arch handstand, snap down. Okay, I've done a couple of those, so it might look a little bit different when you do it for the first time. That's okay. So again, you're going to take your hips back. Don't let your knees bend to 90 degrees. About 135 is good. Jump back, swing back aggressively at the same time. Look at your hands when you're upside down. Ride out that tight arch shape before you snap to that nice hollow position, okay? And a hollow position is the exact opposite of an arch. Common mistakes to a back handspring are opening your feet, doing a little bit of a bounce, pushing your knees forward is major, and that's what actually undercutting is. A lot of coaches and kids think that it comes from your back arching too early. It's not from your back, it's from your knees pushing forward. And look at video of anyone undercutting a back handspring, you're going to see it in the knees. Their knees push forward, their back can be totally straight in this position. Knees pushing forward as they're jumping is them arching through their legs, I guess you can call that. That's what undercutting is. We want to make sure that our knees stay behind our toes, and really everything stays behind your toes. You want your butt back, knees back, and when you jump, you want to make sure this stays behind your toes. Everything is pushing away from that point where your toes were. Once you make it to your hands, pressing through your shoulders, then reversing to that snap down position. We're going to try to do the bending of the knees on the way up, not on the way down, but on the way up. So it's going to be here, and then we're going to bend and jump up from there. Also, you might get a little bit more height in your jump if you actually flick through your toes like you want to follow through. If you had a basketball and you threw it and you followed through with your fingertips, you're going to do the same sort of thing with your feet. As you jump, you're going to push through your toes. It looks like you're pointing your toes like you want to be fancy. It has nothing to do with how it looks. It has to do with what it's doing to the floor. It's giving you just a couple, 2 or 3 inches of extra push before your foot leaves the ground. So you don't want to leave the ground with your feet flexed because you just lost that 2 or 3 extra inches. Follow through and you'll get a higher jump. Make sure that you keep your feet together. It's good technique for when you start to do round off back handsprings. It's going to be good to have that in your muscle memory. Just having your feet together to go right away into the round off back handspring. But also, you can jump a lot easier, I feel, when your legs become one solid object instead of 2 unstationary objects. Test it out on your own and see if you jump better with your feet together or you jump better with your feet apart. When you start with your chest down and hips back, your shoulders have to rise up before they go backwards. When you sit like a wall sit, which most coaches tell their kids to do the back handspring in, sitting like this, your shoulders can go straight back or straight down. So we're not going to give our shoulders that option. We're not going to allow ourselves to bang our head. We're going to start with our chest down, which is going to rise us up and back. That's going to take us safely to a nice straight arm arched handstand position. Also, using a bit of upper body swing is also going to help with the flip itself. Throwing your arms and starting the rotation, using your body to swing with your arms should flip you so aggressively, you're at least going to land on your hands and knees even if you freak out. Okay? So use that momentum, use that extra momentum. This is the heaviest part of your body. So using that for the throw into the handstand is going to benefit you. Once you make it to the handstand position, you need to press the floor behind your head. And your stomach's going to come out a bit, but don't let it go loose. Stay nice and tight in your back and your stomach. Lead with your stomach so you're still in an arch position, and then snap down. It's sort of easy to hold an arch handstand. You can try it against the wall, just be careful. Arch handstand is pretty easy to hold. A piked handstand is very difficult, and a tucked handstand as well. If you're doing the skill for the first time, why not land in the easier shape, the arch handstand? Try not to get into a habit of having your arms too wide. This is not a very stable position. When you're shrugged up through your shoulders and your arms are as close to your head as possible, it's a lot more stable. Your hands are right above your shoulders. If they're out or if they're too close, again, it's going to make it wobble. You want to be as tight as possible in that position. The snap down phase is going to be sort of like a seesaw. It's not really handstand, feet down, arms up. It's going to be hands rising as the feet are coming down, so by the time your feet land, your arms are already up. So it's not going to be down, two. It's going to be one motion that gets you to really bounce at the end. In the snap down, a lot of people cheat the snap down at first by bending their legs. Shortening your legs tends to flip you faster, which is why a back tuck will flip faster than a back layout. But even still, it's going to develop bad habits, especially if you want to go into a second back handspring. If you snap out with your legs bent, that's going to push the knees forward, which is going to cause the undercut. And you're probably going to crash on that second one. I'm going to kill that fly. Okay, so anyway, snap, and really try to think about your shins snapping forward. Don't think about your legs. If you think legs, you're probably going to bend your leg and just drive your knee. Think about your shins, or think about the top of your foot, and snap that in front of your body. If you can run out of the back handspring when you do it, if you can actually rebound on your first couple back handsprings, even if it's just with a light spot, that's really good. Bending the legs, it's just such a hard thing to correct. Do everything you can to really just snap those nice straight legs down. And again, that point isn't for looks. Like, I need to have a perfect looking back handspring. That's honestly just for the function of the movement. When you're landing, try to land on the balls of your feet with your heels together and your toes together. Not pigeon-footed, not duck-footed, definitely not on your heels. Toes together, heels together. Another problem is people that want to get their back handspring on the floor think that they're going to get it easier just by throwing their body around on the floor. Trampolines, tumble tracks, crash mats, wedges, all these devices for helping you achieve tumbling skills in an easier fashion. If your gym has those, use them because it's going to be to your benefit. Just throwing yourself over and over on the floor, more often than not, is just going to lead to bad habits, and it's going to heighten fear issues. And where there were no fear issues, you're going to start to see fear issues just magically sprout up. The funny thing about a back handspring is when you get it the first time, it's most likely going to be undercut. It's most likely going to be tucked. You're probably going to bend your arms a little bit too. Okay? The fact that you went for it is such an achievement, and people sort of overlook that, especially people that are perfectionists. If you are afraid and you're shaking and you get yourself to go, no matter how it looks, you should congratulate yourself, and your teammates should as well. The fact that you go for it, you have the courage to go for it, the trust in yourself, the trust in your coaches that they told you you're ready and that you are ready, the trust in your teammates that they're all encouraging you for a good reason not to kill yourself, that should be rewarded. That should not be looked down upon, so don't be afraid of that. Be terrible on your first back handspring, but when you go for it, congratulate yourself. at least smile after you're done, and then go for it again, and every time you go, clean it up little by little. I'm not going to go over back handspring drills really in this video because I know your coaches have a billion of them, and they probably have you guys doing them in practice all the time. But make sure that when you're doing the drill, you're doing it realistically. There's a lot of kids that will use the back handspring trainer or the barrel, lay down on it, and then tuck over. It's not realistic for a back handspring, so don't practice it when you're doing those drills. Think about that when you do all your drills. Is this realistic, the technique I'm going to use for a back handspring? If it's not, make it so. At the end of the day, and I hate to say this, but this is actually kind of an easy skill. In tumbling, this is an easy skill, but it's a great foundation skill. There's so many things that are going to build off of this. And you're going to see that it's easy. And you probably have already seen that it's easy. I'm going to be 34 in a couple weeks, and I still do my back handspring. I can't speak English, but I can still do a back handspring. And it might not be the perfect back handspring, but it is a back handspring on floor. So if I can do it, you guys can do it. Physically, there's really 4 exercises or 4 areas that we want to strengthen in order to be strong for our back handsprings. One is the shoulder press, or just have strong shoulders. 2 is the squat, or having strong legs. And 3 and 4 is going to be that arch and hollow position, okay? The arch and hollow you can simply do by hollow rocks and arch rocks. I'm sure you guys know how to do that. You're probably doing it in practice all the time. You might not do the correct type of push-ups for your shoulders. You might not do the correct type of squats for your legs. So that's what I'm going to go over now. When you guys are doing shoulder push-ups, you really got to do it with a pike so that your butt is as far above your shoulders as possible, so it resembles more of a handstand push-up than a regular push-up. A regular push-up would be here. We want to be up here as high as we can, bending our arms and pushing backwards. If you just push straight up, that's still working your chest. So you have to press back to make it more of a shoulder exercise and make it more realistic to what we want to do in a handspring. We don't want to push straight down. We want to push behind our head when we're upside down in the handstand position. 2 is going to be the squat position or the jump position. When we're here, you guys might do a lot of lunge stuff, jump lunges and things like that. You might even do some air squats or whatnot. But really the best one for strengthening your legs for jumping back would be more of a one-legged squat variation. So we're going to do it the actual hard way on the way down, but we're going to cheat on the way up. So what we're going to do is kick our leg out in front of us. We're going to try to touch our butt to the ground without our heel touching before our butt does. So what we're going to do is we're going to bend, and then you're going to take your hand and you're just going to push yourself up, and that's fine, just like that, okay? That is one of the best leg exercises you can do with just body weight without using weights. You're going to feel it automatically. Other leg, you're going to try to miss your heel, down, cheat to get back up, hand up. If you can't hold a handstand for at least 3 seconds unsupported, I'm not even talking about against the wall, but just on your own on floor for about 3 seconds, you're probably not strong enough yet to do a back handspring. Your body weight is magnified when you're jumping and flipping onto your hands, okay? So whatever you weigh, put about 50 pounds on that, and that's how much your shoulders are pressing. You need to be strong in a handstand at least before even trying the back handspring. Most people have enough jumping ability to do a back handspring. If you don't, then you're going to have to do some extra leg conditioning, and that's fine. But most of the time, people jump maybe an inch or 2 off the ground is out of fear, not because of their physical ability. And you can test yourself. You can do the wall touch, where you jump and you mark the spot where your hand touches, and just test your vertical. If you've got something beyond a 6-inch vertical, you should be able to do a back handspring fairly easily. If you don't, you definitely got to start conditioning those legs more. Just doing handstands, doing as many handstands as you can is strengthening your shoulders. because of the fact, especially if you do it unsupported, because of the fact that you're on your arms and you're balancing, your core is going to be engaged as well, so that's going to get stronger. Jumping is the best way to straighten your legs. Now, jumping off of 2 feet is kind of easy. Try doing most of your jumping skills if you're just going to train on your own, and be careful when you do this, obviously. When you train on your own, try everything you do with body weight on your legs on one leg. So you can do jumping that way, you can do your squats that way, whatever drill you want to create on your own. You can be creative as long as you're not being destructive. Don't let your knees go in front of your feet and stuff like that. Don't let your knee turn in. It's really bad for your knee as well. Be creative and get those legs stronger. Okay, strong jump, strong shoulder block, pressing the shoulders backwards, strong core. There's no way you're not going to be able to do your back handspring if you've got the courage, you've got the technical knowledge. Any fear associated with tumbling is going to be due to negative self-talk. You saying to yourself, I can't do it, I'm not ready for this, something bad is going to happen, and then thinking about all the horrible things that could possibly happen. What you want to do is completely reverse that. And as weird as it's going to feel, because you might not believe that you can do it, you have to actually say to yourself, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Okay? You need to tell yourself that not only can you do it, but you're going to do the most perfect back handspring that's ever been done in the world. You have to think in that way, and it's going to feel silly at first. But just like repetitions for an exercise, doing these mental repetitions is going to make you stronger emotionally to go for your back handspring when you really need it. One of those times you'll really need it will be for tryouts if you're in cheerleading, or for if you have to get ready for a meet in gymnastics and you need that back handspring for level 4. Whenever there's a timeline placed on you throwing your back handspring, that usually heightens the fear. So in those cases, you really got to be practicing these mental reps more than any other time. An extra technique you can use for the emotional training is to think of a time where you were most confident. Think about like the best day of your life. Really try to go over it and try to really recreate the feelings that you had in that moment. Kind of pretend you're an actor and you need to conjure up these emotions. Remember that day. Think about all the emotions, let them build, you feel so great, you feel so proud of yourself, you feel so confident, and then think back handspring, or whatever tumbling skill you're afraid of. Go over it again, because you probably, as soon as you think about doing your back handspring by yourself, you're probably going to start to lose a little bit of that confidence. Build it back up again, think about a time, and then say back handspring, or really think about you doing the back handspring. When you can sort of anchor one to the other, when you think back handspring, hopefully, you get that feeling of confidence. It just starts to build in you. Like right now, you're probably attaching an anchor with negative emotions to the back handspring. Every time you think your back handspring, you probably start to get nervous. That's an anchor. Again, we just want to reverse everything. It's hard to block something out of your head. Like if I say, don't think about purple elephants, don't think about purple elephants, you're going to think about it. So you can't totally just take something out of your head. You need to replace it with something else. And in cases like this, it's the exact opposite thing. Even if you don't believe it, really, force yourself to say it over and over until your body learns that, it just can't fight with you. It can't fight with you. You're going to win in this issue. And the issue is, I can do my back handspring, I'm not going to get hurt, and it's going to be a pretty good back handspring. My teammates are going to be proud of me, my coach is going to be proud of me, my parents are going to buy me a car, whatever you need to think about, okay? Just stay positive, you're going to get your back handspring, I promise. I used to have a cheerleader I coached, her name is Nikki, I call this the Nikki technique, that she was just about to do her first back handspring on the floor, and she was literally shaking. So what she did is she's ready to go, and out of nowhere she turns to me and says, listen, I love my mom, I love my dad, I love my sisters, I think she said she loved her dog, a whole bunch of other things. And then she just threw it. And I had no idea what she was saying at first, and I'm looking at her like, this kid has lost her mind. And then she throws her first back handspring on the floor. There's something in that. She was in a state of fear and thinking, oh my God, something bad's going to happen. And she switched it around and started thinking about all the things she loved. And it worked for her. That's Nikki's technique. When you're in the middle of fear, start thinking about everything positive in your life. Just blocking that out with these positive thoughts is enough sometimes to get you to go. If you have a coach screaming at you just to throw it, and you feel yourself getting to a point where you're getting more and more stiff with fear, you sort of have to let somebody know. Let the coach know, nicely, privately, not in front of everyone. Don't yell it across the room. Let your parents know. Let other coaches know. Again, this is all private. This is not in front of groups of people. And if that coach is a good coach, they should respect your respect. So this should not be a problem. If you have the guts to say something, they might lay off of you, and that ease of pressure might actually lower that fear enough to where you can go for it, and that coach should be ecstatic after that. If you guys like the video, press like for me please, and give me a positive comment, especially if this video has helped you achieve your back handspring for the first time. Let me know those things and scream it on the comment board. I can't wait to see it. I'll definitely come up with more videos for you guys, not only in tumbling skills, but also conditioning programs specifically for tumbling skills, and maybe some emotional training videos to go more in depth in those things that I talked about today. If you're a coach and you'd like me to maybe do a back handspring clinic or a general tumbling clinic at your gym, inbox me. I'd be happy to do so. If you are in the Connecticut area, it's kind of a big place, but in the area of Connecticut, sure, sounds good enough. I may be able to work with you as well. Just let me know the gym you train at, and I'll contact the owner and see if we can set up some lessons and things like that there. So again, like my video, tell your friends about it, tell your grandparents, tell your mom and dad, tell your dog, and hopefully I can make some more videos for you guys. Thanks for watching. Hey, this is Coach Frank, here to give you a complete guide to your first back handspring. Did you see that fly?